Hi, I'm Darren Shan, and I'm here today to talk about the rewriting and editing process. Since a very young age, 5 or 6 years old, I knew I wanted to be a writer. But it wasn't until my teens that I began really working at it. That I began writing stories that weren't for schoolwork, stories in my spare time that were just for me. And I began really pushing myself and trying new things, and it just started really chasing a dream. And I made big strides in those years. I started writing longer stories, better stories. I had my first attempt at writing novels, which didn't work out, but I learnt a lot from them. I went on, I finally finished a novel when I was 17, which wasn't any good, but it was a big achievement for me to have something that I actually could say, this is a finished draft. And that first part of the process, the first draft, that is the most important part of the entire writing process. Without first draft, there is nothing to work on. There's nowhere to go. All the planning, all the editing, those are very important too, but that first draft is crucial. But what I learnt late in my teens, in my early 20s, when I began rewriting and working on editing, is that that's hugely important as well. Especially if your goal is to produce the best work you can to hopefully become a published author. You have to fine tune it, getting it down tight, ironing out the kinks, making it read as fluidly as possible. That all comes through in the editing stage. It wasn't something I enjoyed doing a lot when I first started it. Many writers hate editing. They love doing the first draft, they love throwing themselves into a new story. They hate having to go through it again and again and again. I've actually learned to love it. These days, for me, it's the best part of the writing. The first draft is always a slog. You begin with nothing, you have to create an entire draft, word by word. It's hard work. With editing, you can just go through it. If something isn't working, you can cut it. You can discard pages that you spent hours working on the first draft. Just, throw them away and come up with something new if you need to. Every writer's different. So I'm always cautious in trying to say this is the way you should do something. There is no set rule. You find your own way of writing. That's part of the writing process, of learning what works for you. It's good to try different things. It's good to listen to advice from other people and to maybe have a go at what they're saying to do. If it doesn't work for you, you can go try something else. But it's always worth trying different things, especially when you're young and starting out. So, I was about 21. I was 21 when I completely rewrote a book. It was a book I still haven't got around to publishing, hopefully one day. I finished the first draft, I remember, around my 18th birthday. And then a few years later, I sat down and completely rewrote it. And it turned into an entirely different beast. That's happened to me a few times. I don't often completely rewrite a book. But any time I have done it, it ends up being something very, very different the second time round. So that's probably something you should try at some point. Probably better trying it with a short story than a novel. I made the leap to novels probably too soon. I began writing them at a very young age, and I probably should have stuck to short stories for several years. But I was eager, I could write fast. I just wanted to bite off more than I can chew. And then I went on and chewed it. So I would advise you at some point to completely rewrite a story. Work from the bones of what you've done before, but just sit down, and if you're working on a computer, open up a new Word document and start from the beginning and just completely redo it. It's a good experience to see just how much you can do better the second time round. Now, as I said, I don't do that very often these days, and I don't think too many writers do. What we tend to do more is edit. And that's go through what we've already written and fine-tune it. Change a word here, a word there, cut out a sentence, maybe add a few sentences in. It can be very, very minor, but those minor differences all add up and they do make a difference. What I like to do is give myself a break in between each edit so it doesn't become too monotonous. As I said, lots of writers, they get bored of going through a book again and again and again. And I think that boredom is really pronounced if you go through the book straight away after finishing one draft. So if you do your first draft, and then you come through and edit it straight away, and then you go and edit it straight away, and then edit it straight away, that's when it can feel like Groundhog Day. I think you can feel trapped. If you give yourself a break of a few weeks or a few months, in my case, I'll even sometimes let years pass in a few edits. When you come back to it, it's exciting to return to it. The story feels like something new, something that you're seeing from a different pair of eyes. That break can be a huge part of helping you bring the story to fruition. Sometimes the times we're not writing are just as important as the times that we are. Although, as I said, writing is the most important thing there is. So don't spend too long away from it. What I like to actually do in between edits is work on other books. So I'll do a first draft, I'll leave it for several months, I'll do a first draft of something else, come back, rewrite it, leave it for 3 months, come back again, edit it, and so on. Whether you like it or loathe it, it is a part of the writer's life. It's something we all have to do. Mickey Spillane famously said he never rewrote or edited. He did a first draft, bang, and that was it. And I think sometimes you can see that in his books. As much as I love Mickey Spillane, there are times when perhaps a few more edits wouldn't have gone amiss. Generally speaking, any writer I've ever spoken to will go through a book at least 5 or 6 times. Often it can be 7, 8, maybe 10 or 12. There's no fixed rule, but we all find the more work we put into it, the more we get out. So I wouldn't be hurried too much to do it. You should have fun when you're writing. Focus on those first drafts for the time being, have fun with them, but bear in the back of your mind, at some point, you're going to have to make that step up. And when you do, whether it's scary or enjoyable, it will help you improve vastly. I hope that's proved of use. Best of luck with your stories, and stay safe during the lockdown. Take care. Cheers.